Hi guys, this is Anna and today I just want to show you really quick how to use the animated mockups. So we have 3 mockups in this collection and you will find them in the folder animation, and they work like this. Simply open one of these, double click inside of Photoshop, and now you will see the mockup looks black and white. This is because the video animation is not inside yet. So what you need to do is you simply drag the animation to this image, to this prepared PSD. So the first important part is that you have the animation open at 100% of your screen. This means not that it has to be like fully open, but it should not be like this. So it doesn't matter how big it is. The most important thing is that it's completely open. This way you won't get any how do you say, any distractions on the position of the animation, so it has to be perfectly fitted. So click on this down here and simply drag the animation 01 to the animation 01 PSD. Drag and drop and simply press enter. So here we go. Now the animation is perfectly on place. The next step is to open the timeline. Go to Window, Timeline. So I already prepared everything for you. If you don't see this, I will show you how to prepare it by yourself. So the next step is, as you would do in every other mockup you have, simply double click over here and maybe, I don't know, write text or put your animation inside. In this case you don't need the timeline. Well, just a minute. Okay, this looks pretty ugly, but you know what I mean. So save it and close it. So as you can see, our test mockup is already in here. So when you go to your timeline and move it back and forth, you will see the animation is moving. Here we go. So that's basically it. You can of course change the other business card as you like, and then the next step is to export. So we go to File, Export, and then let me just see, Render Video. So here we go. So this is the setting you need for this one. The third animated mockup has a frame rate of 60. This means it has 60 frames per second. So the first and the second one has 24 and the third one is 60, but it should be already prepared like this, so you don't need to change anything. Just in case anything is changed in your settings, please check this twice. So 24 frames per second. The third one has 60 frames per second. And then simply choose your destination folder and render the video. This animation is a loop. This means you could repeat it over and over again, or if you post it on Instagram and it's a loop, then you will have the repetition. So here we go, our animation is already rendered, and now let's see how it looks like. Here you go. So, and when you start from the beginning, it's a loop, as you can see. I will close this for now. Just make sure, if you add something on top of this mock-up. Let's say you put a text on top. When you put something on top, make sure the timeline arrow is at 0 at the very beginning, because when you put it over here and you add something like a text, you will see it's like starting wherever you have this arrow. So just make sure it's at the very beginning and make sure it's the same length, in this case 10 seconds, as your video or as your timeline. So that's basically it. Let's close this. I will show you now. You can save it, of course, as a PSD, as a separate PSD. I will close this for now. Don't save it. And I will show you what happens if you don't have this setting in your overview. It should be visible, but just in case. So I will open a not prepared mockup with the same animation. And as you can see, the timeline I found here, timeline, is not open yet. So this shouldn't be the case, but just in case. So then you click on Create Video Timeline. Please don't click on Create Frame Animation. Please click on Create Video Timeline. Here we go. Now, when you place the animation inside here, as before, drag and drop. Here we go. Now it's somewhere in the middle of the frame of the layers. Simply drag it down here. It's totally fine. And then you will see the animation is is longer than the rest. So this is because the default setting of Photoshop is often to 5 seconds, and our animation is 10 seconds long. So we will simply, you can of course put this to 5 seconds, or you can set everything else to 10 seconds. So this is quite easy. Just make sure to check everything, like for example the folder inside of it. So simply drag every layer you need to the right. Here we go. There's nothing inside, of course, and simply add this. So, and the same as before. This is just in case something goes wrong and your settings are gone. So this is only a filter. You can put on and off. Here is some grain and the warmth. So you can of course also change the color tone. So it's not the color, just a tone. If you want to play around a bit more, this is set to hue in the layer section. You can also set it to color in case you want a more saturated color, or maybe to lighten or soft light. It's really up to you. So yeah, I turn this off again, and that's it. The rest is the same. File, export, and then render video as before. Okay, one more thing. I just saw it. So you will see the frames is set to 30 frames per second. This is totally fine, but if you used, for example, the animation 03, which is 60 frames per second, and this is because it looks better, 60 frames per second. If you want to change this, let's pretend this animation number 3. Go to the small lines over here on the timeline, and then simply set timeline frame rate. In this case, you could go down to 24 frames per second and to 60 if we would use the animation number 3 and if the settings are gone. So this is really just emergency. We were pretending that everything is gone, which should be the case. So here we go, and then when you go to export render video, it should be already set to 60 frames per second. So in case this was kind of confusing, please don't freak out. You can always write me a message and ask if you have any troubles with this. But as I said before, this shouldn't be the case. The settings are already inside of the Photoshop file, but just in case something goes horribly wrong, or I don't know, just in case. So no, don't panic, everything is fine. This is only like 3 or 4 steps, more, nothing big. It just looks super complicated when you look at it without doing the same thing I do. So yeah, as I said before, if you have any questions, please always feel free to ask, because I'm here to help you if you have any questions, issues, if you are new to Photoshop, if you never used something like this before. So yeah, I hope I didn't confuse you too much with this whole thing. So yeah, I wish you a lot of fun with the collection, and yeah, bye!